Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Phil Brilliant. It is Simply Brilliant for December 2nd. What happened to 2025? Boy, has this year flown by. But I'm happy to be here this morning and happy to be here with you. And I will apologize in advance. A little raspy voice this morning. Saturday's Rutgers football game cost me a little bit more of my voice. Actually, probably more than my voice. But anyway, it was a great game, a fantastic tailgate. People from all walks of life, of everybody's life, and one thing to know, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But I mean, so I went to Rutgers University, graduated there, but I also grew up on the other side of the river in Franklin Township, Somerset County. It's divided by the Raritan River right there. So when we do tailgates, and my good friend Danny and our friend Rich, um, Danny grew up 7 houses away from me. Other people who come to our tailgate are my friends' parents from high school, my basketball coach from youth group, friends and family from the local Franklin community, as well as the Rutgers community, all come together, as well as a lot of people from my current life. And my daughter was there, Louise, and we had a great time. So it's a mix of people, and it probably had like 75, close to 100 people. It was great. Cooked all day. I mean, we put out a spread between shrimp tacos. Thank you, Eva. We had lamb chops, the little lollipop lamb chops. We had smash burgers. We had clams. We had breakfast pizza. We had lunchtime pizza. It is just a big, big spread. And every year we add people on who join us. Um, so we had butternut squash soup. We had Thanksgiving egg rolls, which were unbelievable. So it's take your Thanksgiving dinner and shove it into a crust, deep fry it, pull it out. Wow, that was amazing. Dip it in turkey gravy. It was a great time. The outcome wasn't great. It was a good game. If you haven't seen it yet, wide receiver Duff from Rutgers catch was phenomenal. So, we're in the fourth quarter. Rutgers is up by 2 or 4 points. They're right in front of us because we sit on the 45-yard line. And I yell, "No mistakes," to the quarterback. He takes the snap in the shotgun and drops the ball. And Penn State runs it back for a touchdown. Game's over. I got blamed. So I'll take the blame. It seems to be what happens these days. But on that same day, you know, Daniel Rodrick and his minion and his puppets and specifically Phil Stilton decided it was the day that we were going to beat up Phil Brilliant. And why are they doing that? Well, people will tell you they're doing it because they want to shoot down my credibility because we are getting closer and closer and closer to recalling Daniel Rodrick and getting signatures. I didn't do a very good job. I'll pull out, you know, these are some you can't see on the screen, but you can't see it anyway. I'm holding. Trust me, these are some you can see it here. Petitions that are signed that we've gone through. We put the number was put out yesterday. Over 9,000 people have signed the petition. It is not just Phil Brilliant. So they were trying to beat up my credibility because why would you stand with this guy? They put a bunch of pictures from my Facebook page, including one with my tallis on in a suit. Tallis is the shawl that we wear Jewish people when they go to synagogue and the Torah is out on Saturday morning or on Jewish holidays. You wear this shawl. And that picture is from my daughter's bat mitzvah in 2011, 14 years old. But they pulled that off my Facebook page to throw it out there to show that I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. I say it all the time. No surprise. Um, they put a picture next to me of Sam Ellenbogen, who is the incoming county commissioner. I consider Sam a friend of mine. Sam and I sit on the Toms River MUA together. And so they kind of threw this whole thing together as this battle of how we are taking insurance from the MUA, we're taking a $2,000 salary, and we're poaching the taxpayers of Toms River. Um, Far from the truth. And I said it once and I'll say it 100 times. when I got asked to be on the MUA back in 2021, I didn't ask questions. I was being appointed to a board. It had environmental issues to it. I am an environmental consultant. I'm a licensed professional in New Jersey. I've been doing it for 37 years. I don't consider myself that old, but 37 years I've been doing it. And so I said yes. They said, hey, you get insurance. And my accountant said, you'd be an idiot to turn it down. So I took it. We'll move on from that. So now there's this whole big thing. And, but it's interesting that all the posts that they're putting out, just me taking the insurance is a bad thing. Okay. The fact that Daniel Rodrick appointed James Bratton, Bratten, I always say it and spell it wrong, something like that, who is Craig Coleman's son-in-law. That's okay. He takes the insurance. Kim Pascarella, who's the municipal prosecutor in Toms River, who is Peter Pascarella's father, who is Paulo Pascarella from the Board of Education's husband. He takes the family insurance, though they have other opportunities to take insurance. And then there's also Sam Ellenbogen. You know, that was a Roderick appointment also. But no, they're calling me out because they want to attack me. And that, it's fine, except for the fact that people are disgusting. The comments that go up there. And if you look at most of the people commenting, they don't live in Toms River. They don't even live in New Jersey, most of them. Because when you look at Phil Stilton and Shore News Network, Conservative News, New Jersey News, Toms River News, those are all Phil Stilton. Um, and his reach, he has over 100,000 followers. I can't compete with that. I have 6,000 followers, you know, and, so the word gets out there and people have called me a scumbag. People have called me a grifter. People have called me a thief. Yeah, they put up my bankruptcy papers. I filed bankruptcy in 2019. Okay. I completed all my payments. I was discharged in 2025. I survived bankruptcy. I survived it through COVID. I was given awards for resiliency for what I did to maintain my business. But these guys find it as a downside because there were some Toms River business owners and Toms River individuals, including my landlord at the time, who were part of my bankruptcy because I didn't pay my rent, who were part of my bankruptcy because I had borrowed money. You know, I feel terrible that they didn't get their full payments back, but I had to think of the big picture, which was my family. And yes, I put my family before their family. I will admit that. Um, my employees, I put my employees before their employees. And the fact of what we're allowed to do in America, God, family, country is what I lead by. And sometimes as business owners, we make mistakes. It's admitting them and correcting them that makes us stronger. Ask me any question, I will tell you. So the unfortunate part, this blew up all while I was at the Rutgers football game. Many of my family and friends were getting text messages, Facebook messengers. What did Phil do? Is this true about Phil? Is Phil taking money? Is Phil doing this? Ask me the questions. If you have the questions, don't go to other people. I will be honest and upfront with you. I always have been. I always will be. I consider myself an honest individual. I consider myself transparent. I consider myself accountable for every action that I have taken in my life, whether it is divorce, whether it is childcare, whether it is I've had some failed relationships that have cost me money and time. You know, I take accountability. And I'm very, very transparent. Ask me the questions, I'll tell you. I appreciate all of those who have supported me through social media. I appreciate those yesterday who came out. So a lot of people were saying, why doesn't Phil defend himself? Why isn't he defending himself? I am blocked from all of those social media pages. I can't even see the posts. I have to go to one of the other pages that I have for business purposes to actually see the post. And I still can't comment because they have me personally blocked for comments, or they don't allow comments, or you put a comment up and they take it down because they can't stand the truth. That's the problem with Daniel Rodrick. That's the problem with Phil Stilton. And I say it once, I'll say it 100 times. Phil Stilton is a Marine veteran. I have a great deal of respect for people who put their lives in line to save and protect our country. As I said, God, family, country. He, I've kind of lost respect for because where he is, but he is going to do what Daniel Rodrick tells him to do, or Daniel Roderick's going to do it on his behalf, whatever way it goes. Right now, Phil Stilton, Shore News Network, Shore News Media, whatever you want to call it, gets up to $4,000 a month from Toms River Township because the council members outside of Nivison, Pecosey, and Quinlisk approve the bills for him. This will end January 1st. I hope this ends January 1st. And Stilton knows it, so he's getting his money worth now, and Roderick's getting his money's worth. And I got to say, people are saying, oh, well, you know what? This is an MUA issue. We don't need the MUA. This is duplication of services, whatever. I am a commissioner on the MUA. I'm trying to run that fine line and don't conflict. Everything I will tell you, everything I say, everything I write is all public information. Google it. You can find it either on the MUA website, DCA. You can find whatever it is. But the two things I'm going to tell you right now, I need you to completely listen to. One, the executive director of the MUA, Bernie, and I apologize, Bernie Rakowski. Okay. I always butcher his name wrong. I apologize in advance. This man has all of the necessary licenses to not only be the executive director of the MUA, but any utilities authority in the state of New Jersey, more than any other executive director of a utilities authority in the state of New Jersey. He is a professional. He was hired 2021. He is not a political appointee. He is not a political person. He lives outside of Toms River. Okay. He raises a family. He is just like all of us, a hard worker who has managed the MUA to hold a surplus. And when we have pipe breaks, like was on Windsor Avenue about 3 years ago, was on Bay Avenue, I think about 6 years ago, we have the money to fix it immediately. We have the services. We have vendors. We pay our vendors on time. We do bids. We get grants. We get loans. We get bonds. We do everything we need to do to maintain and manage the sewers of Toms River. Now, Daniel Rodrick, this is my favorite line. And again, listen to me and think about what I'm about to say. Daniel Rodrick says, I quote, the Toms River MUA, a redundant government agency that is nothing more than a place to put political connected people to get free health care on the backs of the people of Toms River. We already manage the storm sewers in town. However, the MUA also has an expensive leadership hierarchy. And he's talking about our staff from our CFO, our safety officer, our executive director. Okay. But listen to this. We already manage the storm sewers in the town. I'm going to give you a lesson if you don't know this or not. Storm sewers. So that's when you walk down the street. Those are those catch basins. Okay. It rains. The water goes into those catch basins and it goes out depending upon where you are. It could go out to the bay. It could go out to the river. It could go out to a lagoon behind your house. It goes out to a surface water body. Or if you're in a parking lot, you're in a townhouse complex, they have those basins, either retention basin, which holds water, a infiltration basin, which allows it to infiltrate into the ground. Okay. Those are usually managed by the person who owns the property. But we already manage the storm sewer systems in town. You know what that means? That means you clean them of leaves and debris. That water is not treated. That water has nothing else to do. Okay. And by the way, all right, somebody walked in. By the way, those pipes don't break unless somebody breaks them. Okay. They're all gravity fed as the water goes in and goes out. What does the MUA do? The MUA manages the flow of sewage from your house, from your business. Okay. It goes into underground piping. You're responsible for what's on your property. The MUA takes over when it gets to the street. It goes through pipes. It's either gravity fed or it's pump fed based upon where you are. It goes through pump stations, and you see pump stations all throughout Toms River. Okay. I live in Silverton. I walk by one every time I walk the dogs or go for a walk. Okay. Those require maintenance. Those require licensed operators. Those require technicians who know what they're doing. There are wet wells, there are dry wells. We do sealant jobs, we do cleanouts. Um, I can go on, and we do infrastructure repairs and upgrades all the time. Now we take that material and it goes to the OCUA, Ocean County Utilities Authority, for final treatment and disposal. So that is not done in Toms River. It goes to OCUA. Storm sewer, sanitary sewage system, completely different. There is no redundancy. Okay. And as we know, I said MUA has their own safety officer, MUA has their own mechanics, MUA has their own vehicles, MUA has their own operation and oversight. Toms River has a disaster when it comes to the current administration, from having public works taking down buildings and disposing of them property to misusing of township vehicles. These are issues that are major issues in Toms River. They can't manage their way out of a paper bag. They don't want to, you don't want them managing your sewer. Okay. When do you want to have sewage backed up into your house? If it happens, you want somebody who's immediately going to respond, and that's the Toms River MUA. Hopefully, you learned a little lesson from me today. Last but not least, I'm going to close. Today is Giving Tuesday. Give until it feels good, and then give again. On my website, I always make it very public as to who I'm giving to that year. Sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't, but my big three this year, Congregation B'nai Israel, which is a congregation that I belong to. I've been there since about 2001. I'm the former president there for 10 years. I give them until it feels good. Green Faith is a religious nonprofit international organization that I am the treasurer of. And we oversee organizations and operations to basically rally the troops and to promote protection of the environment and throughout the world. Firmly supported there. I think I've been there like 17 years. And last but not least, Community Medical Center Foundation, our local hospital here in Toms River, somebody that when you need them, they are there for you. It is part of the RWJ Barnabas system, but the foundation does those things that people don't necessarily think about. And that might be a baby warmer. It might be car seats for people who don't have them to go home. It helps those individuals in that hospital who may need assistance. So I will tell you today, pick your favorite charity. Giving Tuesday is a special day. Help people throughout New Jersey. Help people in your community. Thank you very much. This is Phil Brilliant. Have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.